Community Hotline is made possible with generous support by the Mount Hood Cable Regulatory Commission. The Mount Hood Cable Regulatory Commission advocates on behalf of the public interest on communications policy issues at the local, state, and federal levels.
Welcome back to Community Hotline. I'm Monica Weitzel. We're here in Gresham at MetroEast Community Media. Now for our final interview of the night, I am very happy to introduce you to two people who are representing the Multnomah Education Services District and about their job at the Unity Center for Behavioral Health. This is a really, really interesting subject, and I'm anxious to hear about it. And here we have Teacher Case Manager Angie Cherner. Thank you for being here, Angie. And Teacher Case Manager Benjamin White. Nice to have you here, Ben.
Great being here. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. So tell me about this. What is the relationship here between the Multnomah Education Services District and the hospital? And because this is at the Unity Center, which is new,
Yep,
right? At Randall Children's Hospital, which is by Emmanuel Hospital, right?
So it's now
is this a different
located
location?
in a different, different place down in the Rose Quarter.
Oh, okay.
Now,
okay. So clear this up for me. That's a lot of organizations there. What's the relationship there?
We work for the Multnomah Education Services District, which is a local kind of district that shares resources amongst other districts here. And they contract with hospitals around town, all of the hospitals around town, and provide all the academic support. So any teachers in the hospitals around here are working for MESD.
Okay, so are we specifically talking about kids then? Kids that are in school?
Correct.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
So regardless of why you're in the hospital, you'll be getting some sort of opportunity for academic involvement or support or pursuit of your homework or any of that kind of stuff.
So even if it's just short term, or I mean, it's mostly if it would be long term, right? Or
all over the place. So, in all types of situations in the hospital. So there's classrooms where kids visit the classrooms. There's services provided at bedside. There's all kinds of stuff: cancer, wounds.
Right. Are you in a room where you have to be isolated? Or are you in a room where you have other people
all
in
of
it?
those things.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the bigger picture. And so we work for that district, and we work at the Unity Center for Behavioral Health, which is a brand new hospital that opened last week.
There was a lot of hoopla about that.
That's good to hear, because we weren't sure how much hoopla was going out. So
I heard all about it.
Good.
But yeah, I mean, it's because. Can you tell me a little bit about it? Because this is sort of a new concept, or it's not common across the country. Can you tell me a little bit about it, maybe Angie?
It's a standalone mental health hospital, so it's modeled after another facility that's functioning well and seeing really good returns, really good data of shorter hospital stays, more appropriate care.
And these are kids. These are all.
And this is everybody. So the Unity Center for Behavioral Health is a standalone mental health center that has its own psychiatric ER. It has several levels of adult care, and then one of the levels of the hospital is all adolescents.
Okay.
So we.
And that's where we're
at.
Involved.
We live there.
You live there.
Yeah.
The most hospitals don't have a psychiatric ER. Is that right? I mean, most of them just have an ER.
Correct.
And so, knowing how to deal with psychiatric cases is a specialty, right? I mean, I would think that would be.
That's one of the big themes in the promotion of the program, and probably how Unity itself got a lot of momentum behind it and funding and really broad buy-in from the community, law enforcement, outside providers, social service agencies, all of those people.
Yeah. And mental health is that's a big topic in the last couple of years. I mean, there's been so many things that, it's because they're mentally ill. This happened because they're mentally ill, and there's no services, or they have to wait forever to get help, or, it kind of goes on and on. When you're talking about kids, what kind of things are you talking about? What kind of issues are bringing kids to the psychiatric hospital?
Good question. For the most part, it's a pretty high level depression and anxiety. And it's always, for me, it's always important to say the kids that you would see in our unit are kids that you would see anywhere. They're not they're what you would see in a high school hallway. They're kids that are highly depressed or highly anxious, and because of that have lots of anger or sadness or any of that going on. And a lot of things that are hard to see for people to know to care for them. And so majority of our kids fall into that kind of a situation. And then we have smaller groups of people that have a little bit more like organic thought disorder, disorganization type stuff, eating disorder stuff.
Maybe things that are easier to diagnose or to see, maybe, but.
Maybe like more classically diagnosed, maybe, but.
I'm no expert, so
nor am I, so I should probably slow down on that. But
so how does this work then? You're teachers there. You're helping the kids that are in this facility. What is different for you? What kind of training do you have to go through to do your job?
I'll let you take that one.
I come from a behavior background. I worked in a district where I taught a self-contained behavior classroom. And so I sometimes was on the receiving end of getting kids back from the hospital after their return to school. And I don't know that necessarily trained me to work in a hospital by any means. It's a whole job that I didn't know truly existed.
I didn't know it existed.
And it's been amazing because I feel like it was just kind of, I don't want to say like a hit the ground running kind of thing, but it was a little bit where we kind of trained ourselves while we were doing it. Because
trial and error.
I didn't know what to expect. So it's been a lot of kind of developing programs while we're there.
It seems like it would take kind of a special kind of person, and I'm sure you're both very special in your own ways. But
so sweet.
To work with kids that are in that situation, because it would require a little, I don't know, a different perspective or a different kind of empathy or some, I don't know what the word is I'm looking for, but I don't think all teachers would fit into a situation like that.
Yeah, and I would say the reverse is true too. I don't know that I would fit all that well in a typical teaching situation either. But there's another two of us too at another hospital in town. There's two acute level care units in the whole state, so 44 beds total for the whole state to care for. And there's just going back to it takes someone special. There's we have two partners over at Providence, Willamette Falls too, that are also pretty special, and we're in a strange and mischievous way.
Yes.
It takes something special to kind of engage kids that are in that situation, and I think we all do a pretty good job at that.
I bet you do. Well, you like your jobs, don't you?
Very much.
I mean, I can tell.
Yeah, first time, I've done a lot of weird things in life, and this is the most comfortable that I've been, and the most feels like a good fit for our background. And there's definitely no specific training for what we do, so I think we have an interesting combination of public school experience and special education experience and mental health experience that all of those come with their own language, sort of, that you have to be able to translate to other people sometimes. So
I'm surprised. I thought there would be a special program to work in that area, but
there's not. We
you
definitely
just have
both
to be special.
We went through the program at PSU, and we're both licensed special educators.
I think there's only about 60 of our type programs in the whole country, so I don't know that there's a,
So not yet, but when you write it, there will be a program for it.
Exactly.
like
So
that
we're working on moving that direction. So
You did bring a video that kind of gives us a feel for what it's like there. So maybe we could take a look at that video. Is there anything you need to do to set it up for us?
just a quick. So it's a story of one of our patients. Like you said, I didn't even know school existed in hospitals. I definitely didn't know schools existed in a psych unit of a teen area of the hospital. And so we try to get over that block as soon as possible. So we thought making a video to show a teen's experience in the unit, a real world experience, would be good. So I actually ran into Zaire, the main character, at my local Fred Meyer, where he was bagging my groceries. And we had a kind of an awkward exchange, and then all of a sudden he was really excited and wanted to come back and help. And so we hatched this idea to kind of make a video and tell his experience here in the hospital.
Okay,
so.
Well, let's take a look at that now.
Let's do it.
All right.
The first night I was here was probably the scariest thing I've ever been
My
through.
first impression of this place was a mix of scared, happy, grateful, and sad.
I went and joined a group. That's when I knew I'd do well in this place.
Even though my first night was awful, I'm so thankful I'm here and I'm getting help and experience from people just like me. Make the most of your stay. They're all here to help.
My name is Zaire Wellman. I am currently a sandwich artist at Subway, and on the side I do a little art. At the time I was going to a very prestigious and demanding private Catholic high school, which was sort of stressful on me, and my family situation was more so like me playing dad along with my mom, and kind of all that stuff kind of just calculated, and I just blew up and had ended up trying to slit my wrist with a kitchen knife.
A lot of kids come in with long-standing depression, anxiety, but oftentimes there's some level of trauma in the family or in that kid's life.
They're overwhelmed, their coping is not quite able to handle their stress level, and a common theme is school.
I was mad. I'm in here because I hate school and they're gonna make me go to school. It wasn't as bad. It wasn't bad at all, I should say. Yeah, probably one of the best school environments I've ever been in.
I think the number one thing that kids like and connect with is sense of humor. They like it when their teachers are funny and can joke around with them and be human. A lot of the times kids also like when teachers share their stories and they have something relatable.
The paint on the hood started bubbling. I think it's really important for us as teachers to be connected with our kids and to create an environment in our classroom that respects where they're coming from and their culture and their music and their language.
The instructors bring a unique combination of high energy and, more importantly, tailoring so everyone gets their needs met. If school can be tailored to their interests, kids do well.
We say kids do well if they can, as opposed to kids do well if they want to. And I think part of what our school classroom does is it normalizes kids in a group situation, makes everybody feel comfortable, laid back, and included. Most of our kids leave here going, that was a cool school.
I think it played a big part in me realizing that I enjoy school no matter what. It feels good to know that I can still learn and that I still want to learn even when I am sad. Teach myself how to draw and do all these things just because I know that I like to learn. And I feel like that's something that I discovered while I was in the hospital. It kind of redefined the whole idea of you don't have to be in a certain environment to learn or learn the correct way.
Wow, get me all choked up here.
Yeah.
Wow. So do you teach them everything? I mean, like all subjects? Are you the only two teachers?
Yeah. Yep, we are it.
Has it?
We do it. Yeah, we touch on, well, basically our concept is to give group instruction at one time during the day. So we go through language arts, science, social studies, all that kind of stuff. And in the afternoon, the bigger push is trying to connect kids back to their real world schoolwork so that they can be feeling some independence and some drive to make progress, and then that can be more realistic to transition back.
Yeah.
So we found that that's a pretty good balance because while they're in the hospital, we also want to see how they respond to like a typical classroom setting and that kind of stuff.
Because they're going to have to get back to it. Right. So
they're going to have to get back.
Yeah. So has it always been this way? I mean, like two people doing it? This is a new program, right? So
pretty much,
what did they have before? I mean, because you were saying something to me earlier about there was like a half-time teacher before, and now it's grown.
Kind of the.
So what happened there?
That's kind of the epic story, and I'm always excited to tell it because for, I don't know, 25 or 30 years at this point, school was built into the program, but it was minimal, and the money to hire people was pretty short. But once I took over that position, I just knew pretty quick, especially in conversations with Angie when she wasn't even working there at the time, and we were talking about what this program probably should be for these patients. And there was no work with their home schools, no transition work, none of that.
It's just
kind
like
of
you're
stuff.
here and then you're here.
Exactly, and the academic rigor of the program was pretty minimal. It was really more of a supportive kind of therapeutic group kind of thing. And I came in right out of grad school. We finished up grad school, and I was like all ready to rock and roll.
Change the world.
Yeah, like ready to explode and blow it up. And it became quickly apparent that it's very important and probably longer lasting success if we were able to translate what's happening in the hospital and where this kid is at to their teams, that will we continue to work with them in their home schools. And so, but we didn't have the money to pay me to do that. So I talked to some people, and we got this meeting together with a bunch of folks that I didn't even know, bigwigs. I just invited them to the table, and it was just kind of this movie moment where I gave them the proposal, and I said, hey, we need to hire 2 teachers and an assistant to do this work. This is what we need to be doing. But in order to do that, you need to fire me and then rehire me onto a new company or the new district to do it. And so about 18 months ago or so, they went down. Oregon Department of Education greenlit the funding to MESD, and then I had to quit at the hospital. I was working for the hospital at the time and had to quit that, and hunted her down, and we got rolling.
So great.
It's pretty wild, and that stuff doesn't really happen in...
That's a movie.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a movie.
It doesn't happen a lot. So shout outs to Jeremy Wells and Mitch Kruska at Oregon Department of Education, and folks at MESD, also Catherine Schemas, and those guys did a great job of putting it all together.
Nice Academy Award speech there.
Thank you. I've been
that's great.
Practicing.
Do you feel like you're making a difference? I mean, do you see the difference now that you're doing this?
I think so. I think there's a huge difference. Just even from the beginning, where we were just trying to sort out what on earth we were doing and what our main goals were. I feel like at this point, being able to, when I make a phone call to a school and talk to them about a student who happens to be with us, the amount of positive support that I'm getting from that school, being super thankful, like knowing where the kiddo is at, knowing that we're there to support them on the school end.
Because there was no connection before, so.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so it's been a really great process to go through, and just the feedback that we get is outstanding. Parents are happy about it, kids are happy about it. It's decreasing a lot of anxiety about going back to school. Who needs, if you're in there already, you've already got something you're dealing with. You don't need to add more stress, to the fact that you're going back to school.
That's actually interesting that you bring that up, because like we were talking earlier about how when we go out and talk to people in the districts and our counterparts, the counselors and stuff in schools, they all it just makes sense to them. Of course you should have been doing, of course you do this, of course this work.
Why did nobody think about that before, huh?
But it just wasn't happening, for like a long time, and that might have been funding or whatever, but I think it was a risk for us to jump in and do it, and she didn't really know what she was getting into. I kind of sold her to do it, and it's been awesome and warmly received by lots of folks, and so we're excited about that.
What do you want people to know about this program? I mean, do you need things? Do you have enough financial support? Is that something people donate to, or do you just want people to know that it exists, or what do you want people to know?
We're in a season, I think, of just trying to get out and talk to anybody and everybody, really just about to increase awareness about the fact that it exists, and how large the number of students we serve is, and to be honest, an advocacy part to decrease stigma around mental health issues. And there's lots of folks doing good work in this town about that, and trying to continue those conversations and partner up with folks that are doing that. And we'll do it from a education and hospital standpoint, and other folks can do it from other standpoints.
Yeah, I went on the website and saw some of the partners like Cascadia Behavioral Health. We've done some stuff with them, videotaping some of their Break the Silence, Break the Stigma.
Oh, cool.
An event that they had, and there's a lot of work being done, but there's a lot more to be done. There still is a really big stigma about mental health. What have you personally found out or learned about yourself, or about kids that are suffering from mental illness. I mean, what that maybe is a surprise to you?
Mm-hmm.
I know that's a tough question, but
I like it though. It's a good.
Me too.
I mean, the one that comes to my mind is kind of what we're talking about already. Is that, and I can't stress it enough, that the kids, we start to explain what we do, and people automatically like, oh my God, that's crazy, that's wild, that must be so painful, that's so dark, kind of thing.
Because there's probably kids who are suicidal.
Exactly, yeah. So to get into the unit, you got to have had some pretty serious things
Yeah.
going on, self-harm or suicidal ideas or something like that.
That scares people.
And exactly, and it's hard to talk about, and we as a culture don't do it very well. And so my first thought all the time is just to explain, like, these are everyday people. You have these people in your family.
Next door.
You have these people that your nephew is probably like, and literally, I don't know. So that's the one thing that I've learned, just trying to normalize it a little bit.
I would definitely agree with that. I think that walking into our classroom and seeing these kids every day, and they transition, so it's new kids every week, and not feeling scared or sad or having those things, but knowing that these kids have quite possibly slipped through the cracks because they are very quiet about a lot of things, and a lot of people don't notice. And so you wouldn't like automatically peg that kid to be
or really loud about it and being typecast as a certain type of kid when there's really other things going on. So.
Yeah. Well, we're out of time, and I have just a whole bunch more questions that you'll just have to come on again and talk to me some more.
We'll do part two.
And I do have a confession to make. I get to talk to him later because this is my cousin. I'm really proud of you, Ben. I think it's great. And I think it's great that you're both doing this work, because it's really, you could tell by that video that you're making a difference in some kids' lives. So thank you very much for coming on tonight on Community Hotline and talking about your work with Multnomah Education Services District at the Unity Center, and keep up the good work.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
And thanks for watching. Thanks for watching Community Hotline. Go check out the website. The information should be on the screen. If you have any questions, there's contact information. You can check it out and get more. And you can help break the stigma too. I'm Monica Weitzel, and this is Community Hotline. We'll see you here next week.